what it really means to live life golden. Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden.
And once again, Ben Mack, Thinking Movement, Robbie Agarwal, Bot.
How you doing, sir?
How's it going?
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being coming back to the studio. I know it's been a little bit, and I just want to see how you been lately, Robbie.
Doing all right?
Good.
Been doing me?
Cool. That's what I like to hear. Always good. So, we're going to be talking about something today that I'm very familiar with. Robbie's actually not familiar with.
Or familiar on a different perspective.
Yeah, so that's why it's going to be a neat little, we're going to see both perspectives, which is pretty neat. We're actually going to be talking about video games today. So, kind of like pros and cons about it, like whether like my experience with it, what I think it's helped me on, and also like what you think about this topic as well. So video games, right? I know you never really been into it, ever really. So like, well, why is this? Why have you never really been into video games?
I've been into some small PC games when I was younger. You know, some GameCube games and like some Smash Bros, things like that.
Yeah,
but I was never into like the COD or the I don't know. Fortnite, nothing live, nothing on Xbox Live or PlayStation Live.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. Like a lot of my friends played it. I just really never got into it. I didn't really see the full value. I think I'd rather just be like chilling on my laptop, like streaming something, rather than just playing video games. I don't necessarily think video games are all bad. I think there's a limit. I think there's moderation is good, and it's very important for video games.
100%.
What I don't think, and maybe another opinion on this, is playing video games 10 hours a day, fucking up your sleep schedule. I don't think that's a pro.
No.
Like, I think that's a negative on video games.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with that. I think video games helps you a lot with like problem solving. I would say, like, think about you're in a situation in say like a shooter game, right? You're in a spot. There's one person coming from there, one person coming from there, right? You gotta like problem solve. How do I get out of this situation? How do I eventually kill these people? Or whatever the case might be. And even in a sports game, how do I bring the puck up the fucking ice and score on the net, right? So it's a lot of like problem solving. Like I feel like you're also learning something. So I feel like that playing video games a couple hours a day could definitely keep your mind like stimulated.
Subconsciously,
like,
I think,
keep your mind like
it will help in real life.
Ready to go, yeah. So like I would think those are like the main benefits like that I've experienced with it, kind of just like problem solving, keeping my mind kind of working out. It's like kind of a workout for your mind if you think about it, right?
It is.
Like
in
physical
a sense,
workout, you go to the gym and lift weights. Fucking in a mental workout, you're kind of just like playing a video game, skating around, shooting fucking baskets or whatever the hell you're doing. But like that's kind of my opinion on it in short. Obviously, playing for like 10-15 minutes is never good. Like that's always like, 10-15 hours.
Yeah.
That's obviously like too long for anyone. Like your mind shouldn't get that much screen time.
Right.
It's not good for you. It's bad for your head. But I think that like that mix could be somewhat beneficial for like an average mind.
Because long-term 10 hours a day video games, that's not also, it's going to affect like your eating patterns. It's going to affect your social life. It's going to affect maybe your schooling or your work or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that could affect other than just your sleep and the screen time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kids these days, younger generation that's super into Fortnite, which we see from a very, very young age now, because online is so available and so readily accessible.
Exactly. So you're obviously familiar with Twitch, right? Like
the
big
streaming
platform for who's ever not familiar with it. What are your thoughts on watching another person play a video game?
I think it makes complete sense. I mean, you watch football games, or you watch other people do other things that you're interested in, and I think you do that for more like a hobby standpoint. Like you enjoy playing this game,
true.
You're good at playing this game. Now you see somebody else do it in terms of how they do the same tricks, how they maneuver, what their thought process is. Like I can relate this directly to the kitchen. Yeah, and maybe a lot of hands-on workplaces, things in trade, where I know how to cut an onion or debone a chicken. But I want to see how this person does it.
Exactly.
Maybe they do the same, maybe they don't, maybe they move differently. I think it's interesting to the person watching.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. I think that a lot of the time, like this is what I've heard a bunch of times, people will say, well, why would you watch someone play a video game? Why don't you just play it yourself? But it's kind of the same thing as saying, why would you watch an NFL game, right? Why can't you just play football? But it's kind of like different skill sets, they're just different levels.
The intentions are different.
Yeah,
the intentions are completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
And people that don't understand that are not, thinking, okay, what benefit is this? I'm sure, I bet they're thinking, oh, this kid got nothing to do. He just watches person, he's got nothing to do. He's not learning anything from things. Well, that's completely wrong mindset. Is that person watching is actually observing and learning and figuring out in their own mind why this person did this and how they're doing that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a cool thing, video games. think about how, this is something I always think about, like always being into it. I was playing, I was playing since I was a little kid. Like, it's crazy too because I was playing Pac-Man when I was a little kid. So it's just like, I saw Pac-Man going around eating all the little shit, trying not to get hit by the ghost, right? Now it's like 3D fucking worlds of other online players and like other people in the world that are really there with you that you could actually shoot and shit. Like, it's crazy, like, how much this has increased. So like, if that's like the change in only like 10 years, 15 years, think about like 30 more years now that technology is even more advanced.
Think
about how quicker it could keep advancing from that, right? So it's definitely something you want to pay attention to. Even like those those goggles, those PlayStation VR goggles, like that's only a start. I think like right now they got VR for like the basic games, but soon they're gonna have fucking VR Call of Duty. VR.
You ever seen the movie Ready Player One?
Yeah, Ready Player One.
Kind of neat movie.
Kind of like that. Even there's some episodes of Black Mirror. Yeah. Like that, and it's also just showing like the power that technology and especially gaming could make in the future.
What about the social setting? I know a lot of people play with their friends online.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I honestly, I don't
they have
see
the mic and shit, and they can communicate and talk.
Yeah,
right.
like I don't see any harm in that, right? Like, think about it. Maybe you can't always have 4 or 5 friends over at once. Maybe you can't always have a bunch of people at your house, and maybe your parents don't like it, or maybe your house isn't big enough, or whatever the case may be, right? You could always be talking to those 5 people online every night.
I think what the older generation doesn't understand is that this is the way almost hanging out is evolving. Everything's online. Everything's online. So whether that's you're talking via Facebook or via Instagram or Snapchat, whatever, that's another form of social interaction.
Exactly.
And that's, I think it's better than typing on Facebook. You're actually talking, communicating, and playing a game.
And it's something that you could do, and maybe you could keep in touch with those friends that went away for school or those friends that live in a different city, right? You could keep in touch with people that you wouldn't normally see, right? You're still talking.
And you know what? Time, right? That's a neat point because you can chat your friends via text, the ones that are away from school.
Exactly. Yeah.
But when you actually talk to them in terms of playing a game, it's much more of a connection. Which actually I never experienced, but now I can only imagine that would have been such more of an actual connection.
Much more of a connection. Like you see that person, you see their like false character on a screen. Like,
but you're talking to them.
You're talking to them, and you see their person,
right?
And it's pretty it's a cool little perspective, like. Obviously, like me and you are on like different levels for this. Like me always being like a diehard video game guy, and you not really being into it. So I think it was kind of a good idea to show our audience kind of like the different perspectives with such a relevant topic, right? Gaming isn't going anywhere; it's getting bigger and bigger. So
it's only esports huge.
Exactly. You have any concluding thoughts?
I think to close up is everything in moderation.
Yeah.
And video games can be beneficial in a lot of factors. Some we just only named a few.
Exactly.
But also there could be plenty of cons if abused.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
That's like with anything.
Use everything in moderation, right? There's definitely pros of gaming and there's definitely cons, right? So I think just that limit, but you do for sure want to keep up with gaming and seeing the new latest technology. I think it's
right. You got to stay relevant. Esports is huge. It's gonna be bigger than actual sports.
Exactly. I think it's pretty cool for anyone, right? But that pretty much wraps it up, folks. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Thinking Movement, and have a good one.
Live life golden, yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden.